Hello, everyone, and welcome to my brand new podcast. My name is Mark Codo, aka Codoman, and you are listening to Codovision, the TV podcast show where you feel the TV power through audio. I am Codoman, your Codovision host. And for those of you who may or may not know, I am also the host of my movie podcast, Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. So now, with this brand new podcast I'm doing, Codo Vision will serve as the spin-off to Codo Cinema. For Codo Vision, I'm going to talk about TV shows. Now, TV shows that were related to basically episodes, a season, or a mix of different topics as well, including genres as well. Plus, with endless possibilities in the television world, there are so many shows, so many episodes, so much to talk about in the world of television. Yes, I have seen a lot of movies, but I have also seen my fair share of TV shows as well. And of course, being a movie lover, I love movies. I have watched a lot of movies, but so do TV. But I have seen my fair share of TV shows as well, especially growing up with cable TV. Believe it or not. And yes, even back then, there was cable television. But now in today's society, we do have streaming services. So basically, you have like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, although it's now rebranded into Max. But of course, so many other streaming services going on in the world of television today. So anyway, might as well talk about TV shows. That's why I came up with this brand new podcast, Codo Vision, which will serve as the spin-off to Codo Cinema. Now, I am still running my movie podcast, Codo Cinema, which is still running. So I'm still running that, but I thought it would be a good idea to have a podcast where I talk about TV shows, which is why I came up with Codo Vision. So anyway, I want to talk about an episode from a TV show. Now, in this first episode, I want to talk about a TV show episode from a TV show that I have seen before. Now, this one will be from the streaming service Netflix, and Netflix has become one of the most popular streaming services to stream a lot of stream a lot of TV shows. I mean, there's a lot of TV shows that are being streamed on the Netflix. So Netflix is a pretty popular streaming service. The same can be said with Disney Plus as well, and of course a few other streaming services as well, including Hulu. Now, going to Netflix, the TV show that I want to talk about, the TV episode that I want to talk about from one of Netflix's popular TV shows is Cobra Kai, and the episode that I'm going to focus on is the pilot episode titled Ace Degenerate. Yes, that is right. I'm going to talk about the first episode of Cobra Kai titled Ace Degenerate, or otherwise known as the pilot episode. Now, I will be talking about the episode, but I'm also going to dive into the topic of a pilot. Now, in case you are wondering, what is a pilot? A pilot for a TV show is described as a standalone episode of a television series that is used to sell a show to a television network or other distributor. Now the pilot episode is created to be more of a testing ground to gain attention for audience to gain the audience's attention and whether or not a series will be successful. It is therefore a test episode for the intended television series, an early step in the series development. Now, of course, television networks use pilots to determine whether an entertaining concept can be successfully realized and whether the expense of additional episodes is justified. Plus, a pilot is best thought of as a prototype of the show that is to follow because elements often change from pilot to series. And that is basically the description of what a TV pilot is. That is basically the description of what a TV pilot is. Now, basically, the pilot is basically introducing the audience to not only the show but also the world, the characters, basically a lot of other things going on in the show. So it's kind of like, yeah, you're being introduced to the world, you're being introduced to the characters, plus you're also being introduced to like who these characters are. What are they doing in this show? What's the whole point of this show? What's the show about? That's why there is a pilot episode. For example, I'm going to talk about the pilot episode from Cobra Kai titled Ace Degenerate. Now, before I dive into the episode, I'm going to give you my background on Cobra Kai. Now, for those of you who have seen Cobra Kai, will all obviously realize that Cobra Kai is is obviously a television show, but is also a sequel to the original Karate Kid films, which was created by Robert Mark Kamen, and the series was created by Josh Heald, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. And of course the show was distributed by Sony Pictures Television. Now, of course, yes, the show is on Netflix. It is still streaming on Netflix to this day. However, Netflix was not the original distributor. Apparently, during its first couple of seasons, the series was released on YouTube Red, YouTube Premium for the first 2 seasons before moving to Netflix, starting with the third season. Now, just to give you a reason why Netflix picked up the show, well, it's because Cobra Kai fell outside of YouTube's company strategy, and other scripted content at YouTube had been falling to cancellation left and right. Of course, Cobra Kai needed an outlet to secure its future, especially seeing it was refused commission past the third season. So basically, Cobra Kai was falling into cancellation after YouTube cut ties with the show. So apparently, it was facing cancellation because of YouTube not moving forward with the rest of the series. So Cobra Kai was about to be in limbo until Netflix came around and picked up the show. So that would have meant that the show would have been canceled after its second season, after its second season. But which the second season left on a pretty brutal cliffhanger for those of you who have seen Cobra Kai. And I'm actually glad Netflix picked it up because Cobra Kai would have ended too abruptly. Now, just to give you more background, it was around 2020 when season 3 of Cobra Kai came out. But of course, the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai were also put out on Netflix as well. So obviously, around 2020, that was when Netflix was starting to get a little more popular with the Cobra Kai TV show. Now, going back to the brief history of how Cobra Kai became a thing. The show itself takes place within the Karate Kid universe, otherwise known as the Miyagi verse, because in all 4 Karate Kid movies, you have the Karate Kid, the Karate Kid Part 2, the Karate Kid Part 3, and the 4th installment, the next Karate Kid. Like the first 3 Karate Kid movies, you have Daniel LaRusso, who is being played by Ralph Macchio, and then of course you also got Mr. Miyagi, who's being played by Pat Morita, and it's based in that movie, in the original movie, Daniel LaRusso was being trained is being trained for a karate tournament with the help of Mr. Miyagi. That way he can defend. That way Daniel LaRusso can help defend himself against the bullies, and the bullies were from Cobra Kai, which was led by Johnny Lawrence, who's being played by William Zabka. To which William Zabka serves as the main cast member of the Cobra Kai TV show. Same with Ralph Macchio. Now, of course, you have Karate Kid Part 2, Part 3, and of course Part 4, which is titled The Next Karate Kid. Now Ralph Macchio did not appear in The Next Karate Kid. He was replaced by Hilary Swank, although there are rumors going around that Hilary Swank may appear in Cobra Kai. Like Netflix just picked up a final season for Cobra Kai, and it's divided into 3 parts. So there are rumors circling around that Hilary Swank may appear in the final season. Who knows? We never know. But of course, like I said, Cobra Kai serves as the sequel to the Karate Kid movies in the Miyagi verse. Now, of course, the production itself, like rumors of Cobra Kai, like a Cobra Kai TV show, like it was spreading around. It was basically a rumor or a thought. It was basically a thought, and ideas of it came around in the late 2000s, going into the 2010s. So the first idea came around with was now the first thing that came out was a music video titled "Sweet the Leg," which came out in 2007 by No More Kings, and it stars William Zabka, who also directed the video, as a character of himself as Johnny, and it features references to the Karate Kid, including cameo appearances by Zabka's former Karate Kid co-stars, which also includes Ralph Macchio. In a 2010 interview, Zabka jokingly discussed this video in context of his vision that Johnny was the true hero of the film, not Daniel LaRusso. And then, of course, there was another video that came out in June 2010 where Ralph Macchio appeared in Funny or Die's YouTube channel, which is basically an online short, Wax Off, F Off. I'm not making this up. That was the actual title of the short. Not making this up. And it's basically from comedy. It's basically Funny or Die's online short, which is also the the name of the YouTube channel, by the way. And I'm not making this up. That is the actual name. And the title of that, as I mentioned, Wax On, F Off, in which his loved ones staged an intervention to turn the former child star from a well-adjusted family man into an addict, falling into a tabloid scandal in order to help his career, with frequent references to the Karate Kid. And then, of course, a recurring joke in the sketch is that Mochio is confused for an adolescent. Because some of these actors you see today don't really age. Sure, the actors we see today, yeah, of course. William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, yeah, sure, they're much older now. Ralph Macchio, who plays Daniel LaRusso, he was 57 years old when the show came out in 2018. And as for William Zabka was 53 years old when the show came out in 2018 as well. It's like some of these actors don't age. Sure, yeah, they're older, but they don't really age as much. But they can still kick butt, if you know what I'm saying. And that's impressive too, especially when it's set over 30 years after the first Karate Kid movie. In 2013, both actors made guest appearances as themselves in the television sitcom How I Met Your Mother, titled The Bro Mitzvah. In the episode, Mochio is invited to Barney Stinson's bachelor party, leading to Barney shouting that he hates Mochio and that Johnny was the real hero of the Karate Kid. And towards the end of the episode, a clown in the party wipes off his makeup and reveals himself as Zabka. This influenced the launch of Cobra Kai, which gives a balanced perspective for Johnny, Daniel, and other characters. And Zabka continued to be a recurring character throughout the 9th season of the show for How I Met Your Mother. And that's where the whole idea for Cobra Kai came to life. And the show was greenlit in August 2017 with 10 half-hour episodes written and executive produced by Josh Heald, Josh Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. And funny enough, the series received offers from Netflix, including Amazon, Hulu, and AMC. Unfortunately, it ended up on the subscription service YouTube Red. And of course, the rest was history. I'm glad Netflix picked up the show in 2020 because, like I said, the second season ended on a pretty brutal cliffhanger, and the fact that YouTube didn't want to move forward with the rest of the series, it would definitely cancel the show on a very brutal cliffhanger, which would, in my opinion, would not be a good sign. I am glad Netflix picked up the show. Now, let's dive into the episode. Let's talk about this episode. As I mentioned, the name of the pilot episode is Ace Degenerate, and it stars William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence, Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso, and then of course you got some new cast members as well, including Zolo Maradona and Mary Mauser. So, as I mentioned, this is the pilot episode, so let's talk about it. The episode picks up 33 years after losing to Daniel LaRusso in the 1984 All-Valley Tournament. Johnny Lawrence, who is being played by William Zabka, struggles to make a living as a handyman and gets fired from his job after an argument with a customer while Daniel Russo runs a successful car dealership chain. Of course, as I mentioned, Johnny gets fired from his job. he works as a handyman. He wakes up like a complete drunk, as you can tell by a number of beer bottles right next to his bed. Plus, he's living in a rundown apartment, and basically he's trying to make a living. Yeah, you could definitely tell that he's waking up drinking his beer, and I'll be honest with you, not a good sign to do that. He gets fired from his job working as a handyman. Like he goes to different people's houses to fix things. Like he works in this rich neighborhood, which in my opinion, like in that show is full of rich snobs. Like he cleans a gutter tank, and to which little kids spray him down with water guns. He fixes a dude's fuse box, although it gets blown up in front of his face. But the final nail in the coffin came when he was trying to when he was trying to put up a new big screen TV for this rich woman. To which the two get into an argument because Johnny put the TV on the wrong wall right across from the door when she wasn't being specific enough. Yeah, you heard that right. For those of you who've seen probably seen the episode, probably know what I'm talking about. Like, to be honest, I feel like this was a bit of miscommunication because I feel like Johnny could have asked the woman beforehand what part of the wall across the door where you want it from. Would it be the back or the front? But when he came in, the woman told Johnny, no. That TV should go on the wall across from the door. And Johnny's like, this is the wall across from the door. And of course, the woman said, not that door, idiot, that door. She was referring to the door. She was referring to the other door. I'm pretty sure it's the back door. She was referring to the back door. So that's basically a miscommunication. So basically, it was basically on the woman telling Johnny where to put the TV on the wall. And to be honest though, like I seen some comments on that clip where it's like Johnny's not even at fault in this one because the woman wasn't being specific enough. I feel more for Johnny in this situation because he was doing his job. He heard the door across. He put the TV on the wall across from the door. It's like you got two different doors. You have two different doors with a wall surrounding it. So you gotta make up. So the woman could have make up her mind and be a little more specific. But no, this has to deal in an altercation in an argument, which leads to Johnny being fired because of this whole argument. Even Johnny was on the phone with this guy named Mike, and I don't think it's the same Mike from Karate Kid Part 3. And Johnny was like, no. And to be honest, Johnny was basically right. He's basically right at that point. Like he's at the point he's trying to tell the truth, trying to justify his actions, which to be honest, he was trying to be calm. He was trying to be calm about the situation, but no, it got escalated. It was escalated pretty quickly because Johnny told the woman, "Quit bitching at me." That's the whole. That was the reason. But of course, the woman thought that Johnny called her a bitch. I mean, to be fair, yeah, Johnny did call her a bitch, but the way he just said it is because just quit whining at me. Just quit complaining at me. I mean, that was the whole point. That was the whole point of that situation. I mean, that was the whole point. But no, the woman did it the other way around, and which resulted in the complaint in the phone call that Johnny had with this dude named Mike, and that resulted in Johnny getting fired. And Johnny was like, I hated this job anyway, and that's where everything went downhill. So Johnny got fired from his handyman job, and this is where he spirals down. This is where he is. The title alone says it best. He's basically an ace degenerate. So he's basically a loser now. He's basically the loser. He's a degenerate, an actual loser. He has no job. He has that rock bottom. I mean, to be honest, he has a son. He has a son who he hasn't seen in a long time, and he left his wife. And also, he left his wife too. By the way, it's also revealed in the show that he left that Johnny split up with that Johnny left his wife. So basically, yeah, you can definitely tell at this point that Johnny has hit rock bottom with no job, and he's also living in an apartment too, by the way, an apartment complex. And later on in the episode, Johnny was having having a pizza at a mini mart. Team comes across this kid named Miguel Diaz, who is being played by Zola Maradona, Miguel is getting beat up by a bunch of bullies who I'm pretty to the point where Miguel blew their cover because these bullies are high school students, mind you, and they're trying to buy light beer, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Why are these bullies buying beer at high school age? That is a big no. That is a big no right there. Miguel's not buying beer. I mean, he was buying Pepto Bismol for his grandma because it's also revealed that his grandma had some diarrhea issues, so that's why Miguel bought the Pepto Bismol. But unfortunately, the boys spilled the Pepto Bismol all over Miguel Diaz because I don't know if he was tied to buy the beer. I don't think he was. He was probably just buying the Pepto Bismol, but he thought, but of course, knowing Miguel's a kid too. Miguel's a kid. He probably doesn't know, but he doesn't know better. I mean, he actually thought they were college. They were just doing college stuff, but no, these guys are actually high school students, mind you. And they all all the bullies try to beat up on the kid, and Johnny is just sitting out in the mini mall, sees all of it, and he was like, "Hey, leave the dork alone." Until one of the bullies one of them is named Kyler, he insults both Johnny and Miguel, and Johnny tells the bullies, "Man, hey man, you're messing with the wrong guy on the wrong day today." And Kyler's like, "Get the hell out of here, man!" And this is where Johnny snaps. He literally kicks Kyler in the face, and he starts using his old school karate moves on all the bullies. And it's an amazing action sequence too, and a good fight too, because Miguel is surprised of how Johnny is able to fight back, and of course defending Miguel from the bullies. Like obviously Johnny's defending Miguel, even though Johnny is like, I don't give a crap. Because Johnny, let's be honest, Johnny got fired from his job. He is at rock bottom, and he wants to relax at this point. Doesn't want to do anything. But of course, he had to step in and defend. He had to step in and defend Miguel. But of course, we all know that what Johnny is doing is that these are high school students, mind you. He's fighting off minors. They're kids, right? And this resulted in the police coming in and pepper spraying Johnny and taking him into jail for the night. He was released, and of course the police released Johnny on bail, and Johnny comes back to his apartment where he is visited by his wealthy stepfather named Sid Weinberg, who's being played by Ed Asner, who gives Johnny a check before officially disowning him. Like, Sid Weinberg is basically Johnny's stepfather. He is a grumpy stepfather to the point where he doesn't really care. Like, the stepfather doesn't really care about Johnny. He even said that when I was told when I was gonna take care of you, it was a different life. Like, he didn't show any care at all for John. He didn't show any care at all for Johnny at that point. Like, he didn't want to take care of Johnny at that point. But unfortunately, he has a huge responsibility. He has a huge responsibility too, But at the very least, at the end of the scene, he gives some good advice to Johnny at the end after Johnny disowns him. Like, of course, Johnny did probably says, "Well, Sid, you are the stepfather of the century," and Sid was like, "Oh, there's something good for once." And then, of course, Sid said this to Johnny: "Listen, you gotta get your life together. And at this point, you're just like the meat in the fridge." The reason why Sid said that because he was looking at Johnny's packaged meat that he bought, and he noticed the red sticker that said "further reduced," knowing the fact that means spoiled. You're eating bad meat, Johnny. That's what he's referring to. That's what he's saying because he's comparing Johnny to that meat in the fridge, basically being spoiled. You're basically rotting. So please get your life together. That's what Sid is saying. Even though, yes, Sid is a grumpy old man, but at that grumpy old man, and he didn't really care for Johnny at all throughout his entire life. But he did at this point gave Johnny some advice for once. So Sid leaves, and then Johnny's just watching watching TV in the dark, and it's obviously an 80s movie. It's called Iron Eagle, which is basically a ripoff of Top Gun. And Johnny watches the movie. Obviously, from that point, it seems as though Iron Eagle is one of Johnny's favorite movies. He watches it, and then he hears this quote from Chappie, who is being played by Louis Gossett Jr. He hears this quote, and part of the quote says, God doesn't give people talents that he doesn't want people to use. And he gave you the touch. It's a power inside of you down there where you keep your guts, boy. It's all you need to blast your way in and get back what they took from you. And this quote alone hit Johnny because he was thinking back to his Cobra Kai days back in 1984. So basically, you see flashbacks of the Karate Kid where Johnny was leading the Cobra Kai team to the All Valley tournament, and he's still got this karate skills. He's thinking back to it to the point where to the point where he's being to the point where they cut back to Johnny fighting off the bullies at the mini marts, basically saving Miguel Diaz. Because before that scene, Miguel talked to Johnny. He thanked Johnny, but Johnny was like, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever." But Miguel asked Johnny if he could teach him karate, and Johnny was like, "Nah, man. No, I can't. Besides, I don't even know if I'm allowed to be around children at this point because he was coming out of jail, by the way, after beating up the bullies. Johnny said this to Miguel, saying, "Listen, if you don't want the bullies to if you don't want the bullies to get to you, then stop being so annoying for once." Like that's what he said, and that is an advice that sounds so screwed up, man. I mean, like Miguel is begging for Johnny's help, but Johnny disowns the kid, telling him, "No, man, no, I can't do this. I don't think I'm supposed to be around children at this point. I just got out of jail. I need to find another job, and if you want my advice, quit being so annoying." But of course, going back to Johnny and the TV, watching TV, he heard that quote from Chappie, which got him to which got him to fully realize maybe I can use my skill for something, maybe to teach karate. And John was like, okay, all right, okay, I see where he's going. Until then, reality kicks back in when Daniel LaRusso is presenting a commercial for his car dealership, and Johnny just snaps back to reality after seeing Daniel on TV because Johnny is jealous of how successful Daniel is, knowing the fact that Johnny's at rock bottom, and Johnny just chucks the remote at the TV because Johnny's remote is busted. So he chucks the remote at the TV after Daniel LaRusso says, "We kick the competition," and then Johnny drives off into the sunset, thinking back to his glory days as a teenager, riding his motorcycle with his Cobra Kai buddies, hanging out with his girlfriend, Allie Mills, who's being played by Elizabeth Shue, and she makes a couple appearances in the series as well. And they do include archive footage from the original Karate Kid movie during some of the flashback sequences in the first episode. Like Johnny was thinking back to Allie, he was thinking back to his Cobra Kai members riding motorcycles. He was also thinking back to the All Valley tournaments where Daniel LaRusso kicked him in the face with a crane kick. And there's also a nice little trivia too, where the introduction scene for the Cobra Kai episode uses unused footage for the Karate Kid 1984 film. It's the close-up shots of Johnny getting kicked in the face and falling to the ground are basically part of alternate footage not utilized in the original film. So there was some unused footage from the 1984 film, and it's incorporated to the Cobra Kai show. So that's actually pretty cool. And speaking of crane kick, there is a little bit of a goof in there too, where there was never any arguments in the original movie whether Daniel's winning kick was legal or not. Neither Johnny nor Kreese nor the judges of the tournament ever expressed any doubt over it. And furthermore, the kick hit Johnny under his chin, which is a perfectly legal move. So obviously there's a nice little couple. There's a nice little trivia for you. There's a nice little goof and trivia there for you. So Johnny was just basically driving off, thinking back to his good old days. He stops at the location where the All Valley tournament used to be, and he was basically thinking back to the trauma where his old sensei put him in a chokehold. His old sensei, and his name is Kreese, by the way, and Kreese puts Johnny in a chokehold after Johnny took second place, losing the All Valley tournament. Even though Johnny tries to tell his sensei, "What are you talking about? I took second place." Kreese was like, "Second place is no place for you, Johnny. You're off the team." And then Johnny was like, "That sucks. I did my best." And then Kreese was like, "What did you say?" Johnny was like, "I did my best." And then the sensei says, "You're nothing. You lost. You're a loser." Johnny's like, "No, you're the loser." And then Kreese is like, "Oh, I'm the loser." Rips apart Johnny's second place trophy and is like, "Now who's a loser?" And the last thing that Johnny said to the sensei, "You're really sick, man." He thinks back to the moment where Sensei Kreese rips apart Johnny's trophy after losing the All Valley tournament. He's getting all the trauma flashbacks for it until a car came in and hit and broke down Johnny's car. And then Johnny tries to get his car started, but unfortunately the airbag went off, so his car got towed to the dealers to Daniel LaRusso's dealership. And of course, he goes to the dealership to take the car back, only to run into Daniel. To which it is awesome to see Ralph Macchio back. He and William Zabka, I'm not gonna lie, those two share good chemistry in the show. Like, it's amazing to see these two back on screen together. It's just amazing. Of course, Johnny and Daniel talk about the All Valley tournament. Of course, a couple of Daniel's co-workers mentioned that as well. Johnny got a little pissed off, but Johnny lets it slide. But Daniel gives Johnny a free car repair, who considers Johnny an old friend, and therefore Johnny realizes and then of course Johnny at this point, he seems relieved that he's getting a free car repair, but unfortunately Johnny realizes to his dismay that Daniel has a daughter. And I'm not saying that he realizes that, oh, Daniel's got a daughter now. It's not just that. He realizes that it's that Daniel's daughter, her name is Samantha LaRusso, or Sam LaRusso. That's the name of the daughter. Was one of the passengers in the hit and run of Johnny's car accident. That's why Johnny feels dismay about it. And Johnny was like, "You gotta be kidding me." Because he just met the daughter, he just met Daniel LaRusso's daughter, realizing that Daniel's daughter was the passenger in the hit and run accident. Good thing she wasn't driving, because it was one of Sam's friends in the car who was driving. And still though, oh my, yeah, the fact that the dealer's daughter was involved in a hit and run accident as a passenger, not a good sign right there, because Johnny realizes that too, that it was a LaRusso. Well, technically it wasn't Sam LaRusso's fault, but she was involved in the accident. But anyway, moving forward, Daniel gives Johnny a bonsai tree, to which it was also mentioned in the first Karate Kid movie as well, because Daniel and Mr. Miyagi cut some bonsai trees at the apartment that Daniel LaRusso used to live. So anyway, Johnny takes the bonsai tree, although he breaks it outside, with music being played in the back, with some rock and roll music being played in the background. I don't remember the name of the song, to be honest, although one of the songs that was played in the pilot episode is Nothing But a Good Time, which was written by Bobby Dahl, CeCe DeVille, Bret Michaels, and Ricky Rocket. And that was played, and it was performed by Poison, which is the name of the band, by the way, and that was played at the beginning of the Cobra Kai pilot episode. Because Nothing But a Good Time, it was released in 1988. It was recorded in 1987, but it was released on April 6, 1988. So about a year before Karate Kid Part 3, but also basically 4 years after the original Karate Kid movie came out. But going back to But going back to the other song that was played when Johnny was leaving, it's called Serious and was performed by the Alan Parsons Project. And there was also another song that was played while Johnny was driving called Head Games, which was written by Lou Gramm and Mick Jones, performed by Foreigner. And I think that was a nice little touch too. Those songs give an 80s vibe to it, because remember, the original Karate Kid movies came out in the 80s, and of course Cobra Kai, which is set years after the original Karate Kid. So you get that 80s vibe to it. And since Johnny grew up in the 80s, it makes sense. It makes sense because Johnny's more of an 80s guy than a so-called late 2010s modern age guy, if you know what I'm saying. Because knowing Johnny, Johnny likes to kick ass, if you know what I'm saying. So then, at the end of the episode, he meets up with Miguel Diaz, and he eventually agrees to become Miguel's sensei and opens his own Cobra Kai dojo with the money from Sid. I like this last moment that Johnny says, and this is actually a pretty inspirational quote. This is a pretty inspirational quote that Johnny said. Well, that Johnny said to Miguel. And here's how it went down. And I quote: "John, are you ready?" Johnny says, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? Because once you go down this path, there's no turning back." And then Miguel is like, "You're going to be my karate teacher?" And Johnny says, "No, I'm going to be your sensei." And then Johnny keeps on going with these other quotes, and he says, "I'm going to teach you the style of karate that was taught to me, a method of fighting your pansy ass generation desperately needs. I'm not just going to teach you how to conquer your fears. I'm going to teach you how to awaken the snake within you. And once you do that, you'll be the one who's feared. You'll build strength. You'll learn discipline. And when the time is right, you'll strike back." And that's the last quote that Johnny Lawrence said at the end of the episode. And then it also cuts to him opening the dojo, and painting the wall with the quotes, "Strike first, strike hard, no mercy." Those are the quotes that are being painted on the wall. And then Johnny puts on a black headband over his head, and he looks at the camera and does a fighting pose. And the pilot episode ends with the Cobra Kai logo with fire burning in the background. What an awesome way to end the pilot episode. It sets up the characters. It sets up what we're going to see in the later episodes. Now, what I also like too is the 80s vibe. It has an 80s feel to it, as I mentioned, because of the music, but also knowing the fact that Johnny is more of an 80s guy than a so-called modern day guy. And I really like how I like how they make Johnny the main character. We're seeing this show from Johnny's point of view, because we all know that obviously Daniel LaRusso won the tournament, but what happened to Johnny? So we get to see Johnny's point of view of what his life was like before he's reopening Cobra Kai. So that's amazing too. Although the episode does leave you wondering, how's Johnny going to teach karate to Miguel Diaz? What's going to happen next? Will Miguel be a good student to Johnny? What about Daniel LaRusso? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen once he realizes he sees Cobra Kai open up again? What's gonna happen? I mean, we don't know until the next episode. Of course, there is another episode for Cobra Kai, and that's just basically it. I like how this show opens up, and of course, the show opens up in the late 2010s. It takes place in California, probably around the Los Angeles area. So that was a nice little touch to it, because obviously the first Karate Kid movie took place in California as well. So that's amazing. And also going back to Daniel Russo and his daughter. I wonder what's gonna happen. I mean, well, what's the point of Daniel Russo's daughter? obviously, I think we all know that she's going to be the love interest to basically Miguel Diaz. But anyway, the episode itself, it aired back in 2018. So it aired on May 2nd, 2018 on YouTube Premium before switching to Netflix. And of course, the first episode had 55 million views on YouTube. And then, of course, according to IMDb, it had an 8.4 out of 10. And that's a real good start. It really shows, and it really shows that the show is off to a good start. It really does. It really, even though it takes place in 2018, but it also brings back some of the vibes, the references and vibes and characters of the original Karate Kid, of the Karate Kid movies. So that's real good. So that's a very good start. That's a very good start for the pilot episode for Cobra Kai, and a great start for a good start for Cobra Kai, and it leaves us wanting more. We want more of this, and I'm glad that we got more of the episodes of Cobra Kai in the later seasons. So that is a real good start. And from my point of view, what did I think of this pilot episode? Oh, I loved it. Oh, I love this pilot episode. That is a great way to kick off your. That's a good way to kick off your. That is a good way to kick off a sequel show from a film that's from a popular movie like The Karate Kid. So that is amazing. I enjoyed the show. Love seeing William Zabka and Ralph Macchio back on screen together. That is amazing. I loved it. I love the story, how it shows Johnny as a low life ace degenerate loser trying to crawl his way back up to the top and opening up his own dojo to teach Miguel Diaz karate. And I find that amazing. And of course opens the door for new characters like Miguel Diaz and Samantha LaRusso, and that is amazing too. So obviously we got our main characters established. We got the world. We got the world. We also reintroduced to the world, especially knowing the fact that this is in California. We're also reintroduced to Cobra Kai as well, and of course being introduced to Daniel LaRusso's job as a car dealership. That is amazing. There's a lot of other things going on in that pilot episode too, but that's all. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. But anyway, that will be a wrap on this episode, and I'm looking forward to continuing this spin-off show. I'm looking forward to talk more about TV related episodes, including topics as well. I am looking forward to it. But anyway, what did you guys think of the Cobra Kai pilot episode? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? I would love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, that's a wrap on this episode. That is a wrap on this pilot episode of Codovision. And I just want to say to those who are tuning in, I would like to say thank you all for tuning in into this episode. I'm looking forward to doing more episodes of Codovision. And I just want to say to you all, thank you all for tuning in. Stay positive and keep on streaming. And you are listening to Codovision.